Joint meeting to order. Welcome all in attendance, the public. And at this time, I'm going to ask Commissioner Favors, Reverend Favors, if you will, give us an invocation.
Pray. Father, again, we're grateful for this day. We ask your blessing continuously upon us. We pray for this nation as we undergo this weather catastrophe situations around where states are over flooded and states are struggling just to have power and other things. Thank you for keeping us in our community. Bless us now as we even move forward to what might be forecast for this weekend. We give you all glory in all things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Now pledge allegiance to the American flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First approval for today is today's agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Joplin, seconded by Vice Chairman Wilson. All in favor today? Any opposed? We'll move right on to new business. The first item being Splost 8. The reason we're here today, and we've got a draft IGA prepared, some revenue projections, and a list of some needs. And I'm going to turn the floor over to our County Manager, Brandon Burke.
Oh, thank you. I'll start with the first thing. There should be a single sheet with the revenue projections. We listed the last couple of Splosts on there. That way you kind of see by year what each Splost collected, and then an average, a monthly average. And then on the column to the far right, you can kind of see what when the Splost began, what was projected, and then immediately up under that was what were the actual collections. We still have one more year left on Splost 7, so we kind of took our monthly average and projected that out. So for Splost 7, we're looking around 27.5 million and some change in the overall revenue estimates. Now, taking a step a little bit further and doing all the number gyrations and adding, hopefully, we would see 5% worth of growth across the county, new businesses, etc. We're looking at an estimated of $31,443,211 and some pennies in the estimated revenue for Splost 8. The amount that we have collected so far is for Splost 7 is $22,570,000.
Probably can't see it so small.
And as we get further along, for the purposes of the IGA, we just rounded up to a flat 32 million for that. This is kind of the history and how we arrived at that number.
So for the purposes of this meeting, Brandon, do you want to kind of give a high-level view of what the county is anticipating needing over the next 5 years for capital improvements?
Yes, sir, I can. On the loan paper here, we went through and listed all the department requests. They're in no particular order. I divided it out roughly by department. For the road department, there's some facility upgrades we're requesting, and then the rest is equipment and a fleet for about $2.28 million. The shop extension is to redo our shop, enlarge the shop area down there. However, that's contingent on another project, and I'll explain that one later. Under fire and EMS, again, we have a fleet replacement, something that we're beginning to work on is get a better fleet replacement plan across the county. So that's a $4.7 million ask. And this one, we actually had what years we were be looking about doing those improvements. One thing, there is a $1 million request to remodel our headquarters over on Salem Road. There was some money in previous Splost for that as well. I hate to defer to Pam, but prior to me getting here, she might have know the backstory on that. But this one would redo our living quarters, add some more stuff because we're running out of room out there, and reconfigure some of that space.
Have we considered any new stations at all?
Not in this one, no. We can set some money aside, but I'd like to get that 10-year emergency service plan fleshed out more so we can identify the areas that we need those stations, how we're going to staff those. So the IT department has requested $3.37 million. This is across the entire county to replace desk phones, some security network upgrades, camera upgrades, and a fiber connection to Columbia County's broadband network, and updating some other miscellaneous network things.
Brandon, can I stop you and ask you, can you explain a little bit about the fiber connection to Columbia County, since we just went through the huge broadband process, what this will do for us?
Robert, I believe this was a redundancy for something.
So during the hurricane, Comcast went down, we only had one direct connection. Right now, our backup connection is Starlink. What I did was I reached out to Columbia County because they have their broadband utility department. And so I asked for a quote to connect our data center here to their POP in Columbia County so that we would have underground fiber between here and there and have multiple choices for internet service providers through there. So it would give us a better redundancy in the event of a catastrophic failure.
Thank you.
Moving on over to recreation, there's a sundry list of improvements here. Obviously, the main focus, $5 million worth at Sweetwater, reconfiguring the front office area for some security upgrades, a gate at the front and back. There's a little bit of nonsense that goes on there after dark. I believe that will help with that. Renovating the locker rooms and bathrooms, repaving the gym parking lot and access roads, demolish the existing toilet building and shop maintenance facilities up there, and constructing a new maintenance and shop facility. Releveling some fields, doing some maintenance work on the play fields, resurfacing the track, resurfacing the tennis court in town, resurfacing, upgrading some playground equipment and resurfacing the hardened areas there. Basketball court at Montego Park. Doing some more upgrades in Deering at the tennis court, and finish repairing the building down there to bring that up in better condition. We've already started some work there with some money in the previous Splost, but this will continue that out.
Brandon, can I ask I know it's showing 100,000 on the tennis courts. Those tennis courts are getting used a lot. I mean, that's probably one of the hottest things we've got going right now. And if we can look at what it might cost to expand those, we can start hosting some events with the tennis, because they travel around and we can be a host of some functions, pickleball and regular tennis.
And I think that's part of the intent is to get that fixed, and we can obviously look at expansion there or and elsewhere to accommodate that need, because I know there's a lot of pickleball use there as well. They're using the gym on the inside, so that's something we do.
Because I mean, there's folks waiting in line to get on the pickleball and to get on the regular courts over there. Pretty regular.
And then some building renovations, some freshen up to the overall facility there. Moving into public safety, a corner building, that number might be a little bit high, at $2 million. But I think if we need to purchase some land, or obviously the cost of construction on everything is pretty high now. So that would finish that project. I've got money now to where we can do the design, do the site selection, and the previous lots, so we'll take care of that. And then hopefully we can do the construction. Dispatch and radio system for $5 million. I believe that's something that's in conversations with the sheriff, with Katrina at 911 and the fire department. I think it's time that we look about merging all of our systems into one network. We look at building out our radio fleet that we've got now, or going to an 800 system and upgrading our dispatch center. That way we'll be able to talk to other counties. There's some redundancy there. We've got an improved 911 console. There'll probably be some grant money to go along with that as well. But that's something that everyone is bumped up to the top of the list. And sheriff patrol vehicle replacement for $2.4 million. That'll get a cycle started to replace that fleet there. I broke the next section out, we just called it public facilities. When I talked about the shop upgrades under the road department, I mentioned this. Kind of toying with the idea of a general services complex for a road department, transit center, and an animal shelter. I know that there were some drawings and some plans done prior on the land just adjacent to the existing animal shelter. I would like to explore that and make that into an area for our road department. We do need sheltering for our transit system buses to get them out of the weather, somewhere for there to work on that. And a road department facility. There's 27 acres there. It should be ample room for a lay down yard and to build a complex there for those services. The transfer station is in dire need of upgrade. I'm going to start RFP, RFQ to get an engineer to start site design on that. We've got the land out there, we can do that. We either need to determine, do we want to rebuild that one or rehabilitate that one, or take it down, move to a different location on the site and improve that facility. Public utilities, should for $2 million, that would be a contribution to the water and sewer system. Elevator and HVAC replacements for $1 million. This is to address all of our large HVAC systems across the county at our numerous facilities that are about 5 ton and greater. These units here are about 15 years old for the government center, so we need to start looking about a replacement process down the road to replace these, to replace the ones at the fire station and our other sheriff's office and our other facilities as well. Demolish the old building, or the old jail, the old election buildings, and there's a trailer type building on that 27 acres that I just spoke about. We can demolish all of those, and then rehabilitate those sites. We need a records retention building. I believe that's something that was identified several years ago, was somewhere for us to store all of the records with respect to probate, clerk of superior court, and the judicial system, and for our needs too. And then an elections building. We're getting the roof replaced on the building behind the gym, but we'll also need some money to redo the interior to upfit that. Should be ADA accessible, but make sure that it's ADA accessible. It's got all the work, the network, the lighting, the security measures inside to host that as our voting center and our election center. Economic development, $1 million in there for land purchases. Anything that comes up that the IDA might deem necessary to purchase. Growth. Campgrounds, getting an armed gate at those centers for pay at the gate. I left the playground and splash pad off at Blind Lily. I didn't have a cost for that. I don't know if some more funds will come in. I've heard we might get some additional grant funds elsewhere to fully finish that project. Complete the building renovations out at Rock House. We've got a design to rehabilitate that building and bring it up to a more historical standard. And then this would completely redevelop, I say redevelop, but clean that site up out there. The pavilions have been vandalized, reconfigure that pavilion in a historical context so the two look like they belong together, and finish out that project. $500,000 for grant match. That's in case we do get a grant and we need some funds there to match that for any of these above or other projects. And then fleet replacement. This will replace fleet across the entire county that's not already identified under law enforcement, fire, and the road department. This will capture planning, codes, administration, animal services, recreation, all the other ancillary departments.
So that's the wish list. That's a lot more than we have to work with, but that's all the things that we will need long term.
I don't, unless y'all have any questions.
You got a presentation as well, don't you?
You asked me on 45 million?
46.
We don't have anything to cut then, do we?
No, we're good. I tried to keep it short and sweet. Let me walk you through this because the color code matters. Just the first fact, we've already seen that's changed a little bit. When we met last week, the leadership, Chase and Ed and Brandon and I and some others, we were thinking $35 million. So that's what I started with. And we talked a little about how we would split that money out, and we talked about doing it by population. And if we did that, the city is about 32% of the county, which means if we got $35 million, we'd have about 11.2 to spend. Okay, so that's kind of my baseline. I broke it up into two major buckets. One is water sewer projects and other. If we walk through the water sewer projects, we need, frankly, well over $20 million. We know we're not going to get there. So what I showed here through 1 through 4 is $16 million worth of projects. You can get rid of that underline. That's from an old version. So we need $4 million for pre-treatment units. Right now, Big Creek Water Treatment Plant's working at about 50% capacity. Part of that is personnel, a large part of it is pre-treatment units. None of what we've done with the $14.5 million in GFA loans and all the other grant money has given us any more capacity in any of our water sewer infrastructure. We're gaining back lost capacity from deferred maintenance over the last several years. So if we spend $4 million for pre-treatment units, that'll speed things up. We lose about 2 days a month cleaning out the pre-treatment units by hand because we don't have any automation. The sewerage lift system, everything you see in blue is on the Environmental Protection Division's radar screen. We've had sanitary survey results for the last 15 years talking about we've got shortfalls at Big Creek, Augusta Road, Ursery Pond Raw Water Pump Station, and so on. So right now, we're looking at a potential project up north of Dallas Drive, the one that may bring in a grocery store. It's mixed use with commercial and residential. We have the capability in the wastewater treatment system, wastewater treatment plant. The plant's got 60% remaining capacity. The problem is getting the sewage from where it's being generated to the plant. We have 19 lift stations throughout the system. A lift station, as you guys know, I mean, that's somebody's intelligence. A lot of our gravities, we have to get them up over topography, so we've got 19 lift stations. 4 of those were built in the 1980s. It costs about $1.5 million for a brand new one. We don't have money to buy new ones. We're putting $660,000 in capital money this fiscal year towards the oldest. Westwood and Betsy Branch are the ones that need the most work. We've got more flow coming through the system than it can handle. Once it gets to the plant, we can fix it. But we've got, from point A to point B, we've got some challenges. So that's why I'm asking for lift stations and SCADA. I don't know the acronym. That's the computerized system that allows you to see, are there stops, are there alarms, are there problems on the people's phones and at the plant itself. Force main sewage piping, these are all guesstimates, frankly, because again, we need over 20 million and I'm asking for about 9.5 million being that which I think fits within the 11.2 we get if we got 32% of the total. I&I, infiltration and intrusion, we've got sewer lines throughout the county. It's not just in the city, throughout the county, that if it's a complete good line, all that goes through that line to the plant is sewage. Well, if there are cracks and holes and roots and things get in there, now when it rains, we've got all sorts of stormwater getting into our sewage system, and it goes to the plant, and it overwhelms the plant. We're only authorized or permitted by the Environmental Protection Division to put so much effluent or cleaned, treated water into the local river or creek. There are times when we get 2 inches in an hour, the plant has to shut down, floods. So we've got a county-wide system where we need to identify and replace specific sewer lines to make sure we don't have stormwater get in there anymore. My guys have heard this ad nauseum, but I want to make sure that the bigger picture, everybody kind of understands that the county-wide system has got tens of millions of dollars of challenges that we're eating away at. We've spent $14.5 million in loans the last couple of years. We've spent all of our ARPA, all of our $4 million in Splost. We've been putting crazy money into the system. As Brandon mentioned, also, we get the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. We've had great luck putting in new water and sewer lines, in some cases stormwater, in some cases paving, in low-income areas. We're finishing the Housing Authority right now, and then we're going to lift and shift over to the Ellington area. We've gotten between $750,000 and $1.5 million in grants from the state through the CDBG program, but it ain't free. So we need money for matching funds. 1.5 is great to get, but if I got to spend 400 grand to get it, I'm going to run out of Schlitz pretty quickly. So I'm asking for at least $500,000 over the next 6 years. Numbers 3 and 4 there, we need them, but we don't have the money. The Environmental Protection Division has told us if they had to permit the land application system in Deering today, they wouldn't do it. The ground on which this LES was created does not have the ability to absorb the effluent or the rainwater that's down there. At some point, they're going to tell us we got to close that LES. That means we have to identify land, buy the land, and put in a $2 or $3 or $4 million system, which is either a drip system like we have in place now or a spray system. It's at least $5 million, including the cost of the ground. We're asking for it. It's on our wish list, but we know we're not going to get it. And we spend an awful lot of time down at the Ursery Pond raw water line. We got 2 raw water sources. One's Clark's Hill, one's Ursery Pond. The line that pulls from Ursery Pond that goes to Augusta Road breaks all the time. So we'd like to have a nice new $1 million raw water line. So what you see 1, 2 through D are those that I think we can fit into Splost 8. Other areas, airport, we need matching funds. When we do capital improvement programs for the airport, the feds pay 90%, the state pays 5%, we pay 5%. So every year for CIP, we've got at least a 5% match for any of the capital improvements we have to do. Plus you've got hangar maintenance, HVAC. The airport, as you guys probably know, is a money pit. It is not a revenue generator. It should be a revenue generator. We split, all of us in this room, 50% city, 50% county, are the put money into this. We basically get nothing back out of it. And that's a different story. And then similar to how you all ran it down, we've got public works equipment we need. We've got projects, the RSVP, the Renaissance Strategic Visioning Plan for downtown projects. The depots needs a little love, flooring inside. Pitt Street Park, I noticed, and I think it's probably from when we spoke last. You all had Pitt Street Park on your list, but you had no money going towards it, so I put in $450,000. What that's going to get me, I don't know, but it's not going to be nearly enough. We've got, as you all know, we've got some burned down buildings in the city that need to go away. Well, it's easy to just go do it, but you got to do asbestos abatement. Then you got to knock them down. Then we got to take them to the
Land bank,
where do you take all the junk? I'm losing my mind.
transfer
Station, the dump. So I think if we had like $50,000 per year over a 6-year period, we can do a lot of good with getting rid of some of the dilapidated and blighted homes. And this jumped out at me. We were talking about for the ice storm last week. We need communications. We, internal to the city, can't talk to each other on radios. We don't have them. Apparently, back in the old days, every truck had a radio. Those days are long since gone. So I'd like to have about $50,000 for that. So if you look at our total water sewer system requirements on this page and others, we need over $20 million. We know we're not going to get that. What I'm showing for water sewer projects is 17.7. We're not going to get that either. Those projects that are prioritized on this sheet will get us to $11.2 million, which is the amount of money we get if we did it by population. I got to be that guy. We jointly own the water sewer system in the airport. $9.5 million for water sewer infrastructure is 85% of the total amount the city's going to get. If we spend $400,000 for the airport, if you do 9.5 for water sewer system plus $400,000 airport, we're talking 88% of every dollar for the city goes to a jointly owned item, project, area. I'm not trying to blow the thing up, but the point is, if you took out water, sewer, and airport, we have $1 million to spend over the next 6 years. I don't know if we're going to solve that today, but when I was going through the number, Brandon and I talked about this yesterday, and I'm blindsiding Chase a little bit, and I really didn't want to do that, but there's lots of things between the city and the county we've got to come to Jesus on, I think, in the near term about money and who pays for what. to make sure it's being equitable. And I'm speaking for myself in this, all we want is equity. And I think that's all you guys want. We don't want to mess anybody over. But if it's a county-wide sewer system, a water system, and we co-own the airport, 90% of what we're looking at for Splost goes to those jointly owned services, leaving us with about $1 million over 6 years to do the things we'd like to do.
Now, you talking about a 50-50 split or 80-30 or 70-30 split
Between what and what?
on these joint projects?
I'm not talking, I'm just saying that you and I jointly own 50-50 is the water sewer system. We jointly own it.
Right.
But the only entity that's putting any money towards the system for Splost is the city.
Well, and that's what I'm asking, but you have here, are you paying, you're paying 100% of the water sewer, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And you're requesting 80-30,
I
20 or 50-50?
I didn't come up with a number. I'm just saying.
At this point, this is the need, right? You're saying this is.
That's right. It's
Well, and that's
much,
what I was
much.
trying to figure out what he was talking about.
Which part? I want to make sure I'm answering your question.
Well, I think we
Okay.
got it straight.
Okay.
We're taking all our Splost money and spending it
Spend it,
on something that we
we're
all
not using
share.
home share together.
Yeah, your Splost money is not helping us. Is that basically?
Yep.
That's what you're saying.
So, and I don't know if this is the answer. What if the city and the county went 50-50 on water, sewer, and airport, and what was left, we then split by population?
The only problem with that is, looking at the county-wide, and what we have to, basically, this Splost is to reduce what we're gonna charge in millage property tax for capital improvements. We got $45 million worth of things that have to be done as well on top of water sewer.
Oh, I know. Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm not arguing with it because I'm willing. I think that the county should help with water sewer issue, but why? It's a bigger question, but that's a lot of money we're behind on for water sewer.
Concur.
If we keep expanding, we're gonna have to improve our water.
And notice,
We're gonna have
there's
to.
no expansion in this for the next 6 years. There's no money here to run new water sewer lines anywhere. So what we've done, and you guys don't know this yet, so I'm a little out ahead of my skis, but we did talk about it. There are only two sources of revenue to the water sewer system. User fees that you get utility bills every month if you get them on time. I understand that's a different issue. And developers, when they come in and build and we put in taps and things. So we owe $14.5 million to GF over the next 20 years. In order to meet that debt service and have money left over for expansion, what we'd like to do is increase the tap fees that have not been increased in a while. We are losing money today for every tap we put in the ground. When you talk about the tapping sleeve, the tap, the meter.
Why haven't we done that?
I'm sorry?
Why haven't we done that?
We did it 2 years ago and we're doing it again. So what I'm going to propose to them in the work session in February to vote on and 3 days later is increasing the tap fees significantly. And then separately doing something called a capital cost recovery fee. If a developer wants to come in and put in new infrastructure, why should everybody in this room be responsible for paying it? Let's pass the cost along to the developer and those people coming into the community who are going to gain from that new infrastructure. So what Carter and Sloop, the engineers, have done for us, that said, here's what we think the new tap fee should be for a 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1.5. And separately, here's what we think the capital cost recovery fee should be on top of that, so that our tap fees would go up substantially, primarily for developers, but developers are doing that in Richmond County, Columbia County. They come here and they very frankly get a deal. So what I'm proposing to the city council this month, and we talked about the last couple months, is increasing those fees because, again, there's only two sources of revenue. we've increased the water sewer fees to you all 3 times in 5 years. And we don't want to continue doing that, but we have to pay the debt service. So the other way to get the revenue is from increasing the tap fees. So that's not something for you guys on the county side to solve, but that's kind of what we're doing on our side to kind of help ourselves, to get more money, because we've got no plans and no money for expansion. We're putting money into an aged system that needs improvements. And if we don't make the improvements, the Environmental Protection Division is going to come back at us. I know that was a lot, I'm sorry.
Will that impact the new neighborhood they're talking about putting out there?
No. We have got, just like I talked about, so we've got water capacity. But there's going to come a point, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, where we're not going to be able to produce as much water using both of our water treatment plants as we need. We have been one industrial customer away from not being able to do any more growth since long before I got here. A lot of that is personnel, but a lot of it is equipment. So thank the Lord we finally got this last $14.5 million for Big Creek and Augusta Road and Nursery Pond, our water station. This next 6 years will put us in a much better situation, but we're still getting millions of dollars behind. Now I know you guys have projects and things, so I'm not saying this is the single most important thing in the county. I'm saying it's a joint venture that I'd like some help with financially. I mean, I'd prefer that we don't have to pay 100% of the water sewer bills using Splost this next 6 years. If I'm misspeaking, please jump out.
No, I think you're exactly right, because it's kind of, once we get, like you said, we pay out majority of that 11 million. When we finish, for 6 years, 5 or 6 years, we're gonna average probably $1 million at the most. And the projects that need to be done inside the city limit, I mean, it's not gonna get done because we don't have the money, because even when we pay out, do our budget, we paying out more money towards things towards the county, in the rec and everything else. So we actually don't have anything left, to do anything in the city side of it. Because I thought once you become joint, everybody, pay a fee. And I guess the question been asked, when we merged with the water and sewer, I know that the county had a debt with to do Bell Mead out there. So I think when we merged, all that debt, come from, a special group that pay their debt, but it got merged into the water and sewer. I don't know how many millions of dollars, and I never thought that was fair, because somebody told me, say, well, Splost gonna pay for it, but Splost shouldn't have to pay for a debt that was already made. And I don't feel like, the city should be paying for a debt that was already made, millions of dollars that now we study paying, we're doing all the work. And if I got a business to sell you, you gonna pay to come in my business. You're not just gonna come in there, free us, scotch free. And that's another thing that I think need to be looked at real hard. Because, like you said, we paying for the airport and stuff like that. There's no revenue. If we know we need an airport, but why keep on paying for somebody else getting the benefits?
Well, I agree with that 100%. I think we all need to sit down and figure out something with the airport.
Something need to be
Well,
done.
that was the question I was gonna ask him about, why is it not bringing in money,
We're missing the mark there.
Yeah, I mean, that should be a money generation.
John, we've got 4 years and a half, 2 years left on the contract?
I don't know how much you all knew about this, and I got into it 3 or 4 years ago. The airport contract for the fixed base operator, the FBO, was a 25-year contract. And Reverend Favors is nodding. And we've had exactly one increase in rent from the fixed base operator in that 21 years. Now we got 3 or 4 years left. He started off paying, say, $1,800 a month, and then it about doubled. So we get about $3,500 a month in rent. That rent covers full use of the terminal, all of the hangars, all the facilities. He runs a flight school out of there. He's got a maintenance capability, which he was always supposed to have, and he gets monthly rent from about 24 planes that are in the hangars. So the fixed base operator, Spirit Aviation, Keith Bounds, is making money. What he's not doing is kicking it upstairs. The only revenue we get is the rent. Okay, $35,000 a year. Now, full disclosure, when he paid the $1 million loan for a community hangar several years ago before I got here, we went out, the city, county, whomever, got the loan, low interest, and he paid it back. He's continued to pay another $3,500, which is, I mean, it was $1 million in 20 years. So he paid that back a couple of years ago, and he's been giving us that payment to use stuff. So we get about $7,000 a month. But it's not enough. In the contract, the only thing he owes us is his monthly rent, and if he sells more than 50,000 gallons of 2 different kinds of fuels, we get a couple cents per gallon. He kills it once a year during when? Masters. He's got tie-down fees, he's got this fee, he's got that fee. He's making money hand over fist. Oh, for about a week. I mean, he's not making a ton of money during the year, but he's getting hangar rent, and he's got his school, his flight school, and we get rent, essentially. So that's a lot of words to say. We've looked at the contract and talked to the attorney, and we don't have any real grounds to break the contract. I've been personally searching for 3 years for a new FBO that would come in and want to put some money into it and make it a revenue generator. But the FBO, I mean, he's not interested in changing now. He's 65 years old. He's going to retire as an airline pilot. He's the FBO for both here and Greensboro. So I think everybody agrees it should provide revenue, and it does to him, but not to us.
The 25-year contract was.
Yeah, that's the breaker right there.
So
But you
wasn't
only got a
nothing
year and
wrote,
a half left, right?
wasn't nothing wrote in that contract, you know, well, I know you said you couldn't find anything, but I know you, the joint contracts, you either have a stipulation, you know, it may not last 25 years either, or if you find some way, you know, you have to give a written notice to get out of it. So wasn't nothing in there.
Our attorney looked over it, and whoever wrote it did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they
So-
knew what they were doing.
You don't want to give problems without giving potential solutions. I don't know the solution. One way is possible, and Brendan, if I'm talking out of left field, please jump in. Does it make some sense, even if it's not 50-50 water? Is there something we can come up with where the county's providing some Splost money towards water sewer, if not a full 50-50? And I'm not going to make a decision this second, but I'm saying as a way to offset that, if we jointly own the system, I mean, you can say, okay, you do 50%, I'll do 50%, whatever's left, we'll take the 32%, 68%. I'm not sure how palatable that is, because that means the county's going to lose $4 million. But I don't know what else to do. That is an option. It may not be very palatable. Brendan, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I guess, you know, and John said he'd be that guy, I'll be that guy, because I'm the new card. From a fiduciary standpoint, we discussed this 50-50 ownership, but I feel like sometimes we, the county, is the silent partner, because we have no operational control. So in that decision-making process, where, and I understand there's the Water Sewer Commission that has a piece of this, but my concern is, and I feel like we all should contribute to something, but I wanna make sure as the 50% owner, that we have 50% in setting rates, that we have 50% in how the system is operated, that we have 50% of control. And control might not be the correct word, but we have 50%, we're just not a 50% owner that bears a lot of the risk in terms of debt service or, you know, financial implications, because we're already faced with a late audit that could affect the county's credit rating. So we do bear some risk. I just wanna make sure, you know, if we're a true 50-50 partner, which I don't disagree that, you know, we should contribute some, but I think it might be the point in time that we discuss how this mechanism works. I don't think operationally, you know, personnel wise, it might be just the mechanics of how we're structured.
Well, I think that's a good, because I guess for a while there, it's kind of sad you find out things later on in life. Because I thought the county was paying, you know, X, Y, Z just like, you know, the city. If anything came up, you know, it was 50-50. You do this, we do this together since we took over this joint, you know, ownership. And I know the city been running it just like, because they still had the employees, but I thought in the long run, the decision was made, it was made through the city and county, you know, what had to be done. You know, whatever money we put in, you all put in. But seems like what I'm hearing today, that's not been the case. Seems like we've been, in other words, I hate to say the word, we've been lied to over the years, you know, somewhere down the road. Because that's why I'm trying to figure out today, you know, about that loan. So it's not fair to us to take on somebody else's debt and, you know, that the other part, the debt that we got it from, is not contributing to that debt. Because see, when we first talked about the thing, yeah, we agreed to do it, but I thought the county was going ahead and keep that debt that they had. I forgot how many millions of dollars for the Bell Mead, you know, putting this infrastructure out there. But my understanding, all of it got tied into, you know, one joint section. Because when we first agreed to it, that the city would still have a rate, because I think the county was paying a rate, you know, for that service out there was a higher rate. And so we was gonna leave it in for X amount of years, but all of a sudden it got dropped, everybody paying the same rate. And so, you know, and I guess, I don't know, it definitely need to be looked into to see, because some just don't seem, you know, fair about the whole thing. The same way about the fire department to me. You know, I don't know if that would ever come back up, but, you know, you just don't, if you're gonna be joint, everybody need to pay, you know, that department.
You make a great point. I think the reason the city council makes the decision based on the Water Sewer Commission recommendation for rates, as an example, it does make it right, but that's how the document in 1979 wrote it. That doesn't mean it can't be revisited. Now it gets a little long-wheeled if we got two elected bodies, one wants to raise rates, one doesn't, then what do you do? So, but you're right. And so we're tied financially as well as service delivery-wise.
And if I have to be that, sure, I'll, you know, if we need to look at the governance documents and reconstitute this thing, I think in the long term, for the betterment of the entire, both the city and the county, we probably need to look at having that conversation. I might be making my bosses a little uncomfortable saying that, But as a new person coming in, trying to figure out, okay, you know, and I understand, I do believe that a 50-50 ownership, we should both be contributing, but it should be more than we just contribute money if we don't have any operational control over anything. And that's the point I'm coming from. You know, we're just assigning, you know, taking a risk that we're paying into a system that we, from where I sit at the end of the day, have no control over.
So we're talking about consolidating water and sewer.
It has been. That's what happened 25 years ago.
Well, I got
So if we consolidate it now, we would be joint owners in it.
We are.
We are.
That's
We
been
are.
done.
It's been
And
done.
the way
Don't
the
sound like we're.
it is, and the way it was written is that the city runs the water sewer system, it collects all the revenue and pays all the bills. Right, wrong, or indifferent, the county vote into how things operate in that system is the Joint Water Sewer Commission. When I'm writing bills, I cannot use money from water sewer for anything but water sewer. I can use it for the employees that work in water sewer. But I can't take money from water sewer and use it for airport or streets or anything else. So there's very strict guidelines. So, and when I got here, there was an issue where apparently one of our persons who had nothing with water was being paid out of the water fund. And we fixed that. So I just can't go willy-nilly and spend that money wherever I want. It's got to be in that system.
Right.
And that gets into, and I know we're beating the dead horse, you know, the 39%, 28%. I mean, it goes back to service delivery and how those numbers came to be what they were, when they were. And we're not going to solve that today, but it's all interrelated because local option sales tax, we get a certain percentage and you guys get a certain percentage, and our folks pay 7 mils worth of tax. City pay 6.89 to the city and 7 to the county. But then we also pay $1.5 million during the course of the year for shared services. And the answer we generally got is because that's how it's always been. And that's okay if it works. So I think with new eyes, it makes some sense to revisit all these things. And there's a lot of, I think, handshake deals that were done a long time ago that may have made sense then. So I don't think there's any bad people, there's no communists. Things have changed over time. And I don't know today why the city, pays 28% of Cat's Animal Shelter, but 39% of planning and zoning and 39% of Parks and Rec. We've just done it. And so there may be a reason behind that, but very few people in this room know what that is. And is it written anywhere?
Just service delivery strategy, to my knowledge, but I mean, I think the leadership, like Alton was talking about, fire and EMS, we just had to buy a $2 million ladder truck. I mean, if that ladder truck is for a building and there's only one building in the city limits and one building in the county that needs that one particular item, why do we need $2 million in the city and $2 million in the county spent? I think
That's right.
I think leaders made a good decision in trying to work together and spread these funds, because we're too small of a city and a county to nickel and dime each other, in my opinion. But
Well, and there's going back to all that, there's $4.7 million of fire requests. There's also $3.4 million of in the IT, and there's also $8 million in recreation that y'all not paying.
That's right.
So I mean,
There's
it's just
arguments on both
it's,
sides.
it's just requests in different pots, but
I think we got to
that's,
prioritize how much we want to spend for those pots jointly, because, like to your
yeah, I
point,
mean, the Rex 50/50. We took over fire EMS, and just y'all now having to pay. We're 50/50 in IT, so you know, I mean, I'm not disputing anything, but the other side of that is that's 4.7, 3.4, which is 8 plus almost 9 million. So we're paying 17 million in our request. So, you know,
And your stuff helps us too.
yeah. So I mean, it's,
We acknowledge that.
so I'm just making the point that you know, if we sit here and, you know, it probably deserves the discussion, but, we're not paying, I mean, we're paying for stuff that the city's not paying too, so, I mean, it just,
100%.
yeah, so, I mean, this has just gotta be bartered out on some level, I guess.
I mean, there's no one saying that we don't need to work together. What we're saying, we can't, everybody need to pay their share where they need to be paid. I mean, it's not.
That's what I just said.
Well, you just had the floor, let me have the floor now, okay? Okay? I mean, I wait your turn. We saying that what's good for the gander is good for the goose. We not disagreeing on anything. We just need to sit down and see, because anytime in the government that you got any kind of agreements, it should be in documentation. That if you got 25 years, 30 years, it's a clause to stay, a clause, out clause on both parties. But when you can't find any documentation, that tell me that it need to be looked at so we can come together and make sure things is going right and the way it should be done. I mean, I'm not saying the same way like when we had this or we had that, everybody worked together. We had a ladder truck, yeah, we had to pay the bills and everything, but right now I think we still paying back into, we're giving, I think, the insurance premium tax, it's going back to the county. So, but the citizens still having to pay whatever, we're being assessed. So that's, money that's, going one way or the other. So is nobody saying that what is being done is the right way or wrong way. We need to approve it so everybody we'll be able to do something in the city, we'll be able to do something in the county. Instead of one group that's paying all the money, and nobody get anything done. And see, I was under the impression in the last Splost that Pitt Street had money already in there to do something with that park.
And to my knowledge, there is some money still there. I just think nobody's done.
For
We
Pitt
can't
Street?
answer for that, but there was,
Pam, was there ever, I don't remember seeing anything specifically for Pitt Street in Splost 7.
See,
I know
that's
we
what
talked about it with a new
and
sign, a Bernice Brown sign.
Yeah.
Bernie's
Can I
buying,
ask a
yeah.
question about Pitt Street? I hadn't
It's
seen it.
not specifically listed.
I didn't think so.
But see, that's what I'm saying, because we sat down, I guess the people that represented us at the time, that's what was asked. And here it is again, it's not being done because we got the University of Georgia or somebody coming to do your assessment, what we could do to get that park back up and running. So,
Yeah.
it's just stuff like,
And I don't know if the $1 million for the park here across from the government center was in Parks and Rec, if as a park, is the way it was listed.
it was a different, should have been a different grant, because see, I think we was told that all the money that was in for the rec departments, including Pitt Street, went into when they redid, Sweetwater out there. All the money was used up because, overcost, the bill and everything had went up. And that's what, we was told.
And I wasn't here for it.
Well,
so
that's what I'm
I
saying, so
can't
that's what
argue
I'm
with it,
saying.
that
So I figured that if that be the case, then some money should have been put back in there, because like they said, they used the money for everything they do with recreation, that they use it, to do Sweetwater out there because of the building, and everything was the overcost in it. And the money should have been put back on the new for, Pitt Street and everything else, that should have been done.
Is Pitt Street even used now by our rec park? I haven't seen any activity.
Our
over there
recreation
in a
doesn't, but the
couple of
neighborhood,
years.
the neighborhood does like all the other parks, White Oak,
But
Montego
our
Commons.
rec department doesn't use it for ball
They don't
games
use
or
it for
anything
practices
at
or
all.
games.
They maintain it, but there's no
It's not used.
activities there.
Well,
It's not
In Splost 5, there were $25,000 allocated for a walking track at Pitt Street.
But that was before they tore the little trailers down at the end, wasn't it?
Plus
what I mean.
five
Plus
would have been
five,
like
a
years
while
ago.
back.
At least
Yeah,
get it.
this was years ago, so I was looking to see if Pitt Street was specifically listed.
It was a
in
plan.
Yeah.
Since they tore that stuff down at the end.
Yeah.
Walking track
that
with
was
lights and all that stuff.
Put do the whole thing, fence, everything around.
We've got a prioritized list.
Yeah.
that
Okay.
We can move forward.
I do
But I
have,
think just a lot of stuff we gotta talk about. So I don't think there's any war stopping that, but I just wanna throw it out there, but we have a prioritized list and I wanna speak on behalf of the council, but I think we can move forward. There's lots of stuff we need to talk about instead of kicking the can down the road.
This is
Yes,
not
sir.
our wish list now, like this.
That's,
This
what's
is just
gotta be
what we
done.
really need.
In blue, there's what's black there is extra.
Well, that's got
Charlie?
I just have a quick question. The Water
We
Sewer
could have had a wish
Commission,
list like this too, but we did.
Mayor Darby,
We got to
we
tear
need to
down.
turn
our
down,
wish
buddy.
list.
The Water and Sewer Commission, is it made up of people in this room?
Yes.
It
Here's
is.
how the Water Sewer Commission
This, that, yes.
is established or manned.
Okay.
By position. County Commission Chairman, Mayor.
Okay.
Elected official city, elected official county.
Okay.
Appointee from the city that you appoint,
Okay.
appointee from the county that they appoint, and one person who is appointed by the Water Sewer Commission itself. That's how it ran for the last 5+ years. Alan came into office and said, what about me? And Sean, his predecessor, had been on it for years and years and years. And was he the appointee? Because the Mayor Deering, based on the written document 79, was not part of it. Alan and his gang found some documents that said, in a service delivery strategy, that said he was on there. So I don't know that we've policed up the paperwork yet, but Alan has been attending the last few. But as I said before, there's 2, 4, 6, 7 members.
Yeah.
And then Brandon and I attend as the staff guys.
And does the Water Sewer Commission make recommendations to the city for rates, tap fees and all that?
Yes.
And does the city vote based on their recommendations?
Yes.
And it's not something where they come in and say, hey, $5, whatever, and the city goes, no, maybe $3. So the county does have representation in that
They do,
manner.
but to Brandon's point,
Yeah, no, I was just
yeah,
wanting to make
I
sure.
mean, you guys aren't
understood how it
voting
was.
it. They are. So that becomes part of the control part.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
that's what we talked about before, man. Like, why is the Water Sewer Commission not just an authority of its own? Shouldn't it be more of an enterprise fund that makes money? Why are we continuing to take county taxpayers at large and people's Splost to subsidize a failing system? I mean, it's
Because it doesn't generate enough revenue. It is an enterprise
yeah, no,
fund.
I understand, but I'm saying well, it doesn't. So how do we change that? And if you've got elected officials over the past 30 years who don't want to raise rates, what's being done is not getting done. So why don't we put it in an authority and let the authority manage it like a business? Get it off the city and county because, I mean, of course, we still have an interest in it, but
I'd be careful.
I
mean,
mean,
Dan
We'll talk
Harrison's
about
in
it
control.
later. Yeah,
We're not gonna solve anything.
right. I had that question. I just
Yeah,
want to make sure.
I don't, we're not gonna solve anything today. Relatively, some of this stuff happened back in some days that you all were not even around. And some things got done that did not get done properly and correctly. To everybody's point, I think we need to go back and look at everything from the FPO to the water sewer, to how everything was done from both sides pulled together, the chairman, the administrator, the manager, maybe one commissioner, maybe one, and just review everything and see where we need to be today. We need to take a look at this whole thing over again.
Agree.
Are we gonna go around in circles and circles over stuff? That's not gonna get us anywhere. That's gonna be bottom line here. So this stuff, we all been through. This stuff happened and it just needs to be straightened out.
But we need to get something on paper because we want to put this on the ballot in May.
Exactly.
So if it doesn't pass in May, we can redo it in November.
That's right.
So, yeah, we need to sit down and hammer this stuff out, and we can work on the side about the other stuff.
That's
So,
right.
yeah. So, and I think even with the big list, it's great. You know, I like it the way it's written out, Brandon. Definitely pick out the top 5 or 6, you know, and I think with the parks thing, Sweetwater is getting a huge chunk of that, of course, but you know, a lot of times it looks really good when you have some of them base hits in there that people can see it working versus just putting $8 million in Pitt Street over 6 years. So.
I agree with you, and I think maybe instead of us trying to say we got right on the 32% mark, let's just sit down, Mayor, you, Brandon, and say, let's make sure that the Parks and Rec gets enough to help with Pitt Street, help with Sweetwater.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the city uses Sweetwater, the complex, but Pitt Street obviously needs some work too. I mean,
Did y'all get the thing that the students at UGA did with Pitt Street with the walking track and all? So y'all know. I mean, I think that was something we talked about when I was at the chamber, trying to figure out if it would be used, and I think it would because it's so centrally located, and you put the lights up, it definitely get used more often, I'm sure. But I think there's a really good plan for it already.
agree with it.
Steve asked.
So back to the water and sewer, wouldn't it, the easy fix is keep it how it is, except for make that one spot that is voted on by the board, give that spot to the town of Dearden, that way everybody has a person there?
I
wouldn't
think
it just
that's
be
a
this-
commission decision,
Right.
but I think it makes sense to rewrite the latest update and make sure it's codified. And Reverend Favor's right now. Everybody's doing the right thing. Now, okay, we had 3 brand new elected officials, so I want to let them know kind of what was what. Brandon's new, I'm on my way out. So I just want to identify some things that I think need conversations. By priority, we got to knock this out. I mean, maybe by project, and then we'll figure it out. But then we got to not kick the can down the road. We have to put some times on the flipping calendar and just have a forcing function, because it's only going to benefit the citizens in the community, and that's what matters. I'll shut up now.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is we've stayed idle for so long, and now we're behind. Now we're trying to play catch up, and everybody looks at us like we're trying to nickel down on death, but we're trying to play catch up for where we stayed idle for way too long because nobody wanted to be that guy. And now we are the bad guys because we're having to be that guy.
It costs a lot to catch up.
Because I mean, just speaking back on the tap fees, you know, you can't even buy the material for what we're charging right now. I mean,
What's it cost for a new tap right now?
Like 1,300 for a water tap.
We're going to go from $1,350 to $4,000 is the recommendation for a 3/4 inch tap. I've got chapter and verse, but they're the ones that jump into my brain.
But you can't put a well in for $4,000,
No,
and that well cuts off when
the power does, so.
yeah.
the city water keeps coming.
That's right.
So, Mr. Chairman, do we put a couple meetings on the wall early next week where you and the mayor and Brandon and I and other reps dig into this?
Sounds like a plan. Let's we'll try to shave this down and fit it in a number and just go from there. But we left Deering out. Did y'all want to kind of talk about some of the things y'all did?
I think he said they want to start paying like 32%.
Yeah.
I didn't bring any handouts, but with the money allocated, we're supposed to get around 400,000.
Yes, sir.
We need, talking about the walking track, I was over there the other Sunday, we had 30 children playing on our playground at the walking track. So we need, I think I got $105,000 walking track maintenance and construction. Our town hall needs a new parking lot, $65,000. And town hall needs a roof. Both fire stations need a roof. It's $25,000 more for a total of $195,000. Out of the 400 and whatever's left, we will just go to the water sewer. Yeah. Well, no, we still participate. That's all we got.
Alright. Well, we'll include you in our meeting too. 1%. It's 1 and some change.
1 1/4.
1 1/4. Alright, well, is there any further discussion? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Councilman Whittle, who was that? Commissioner Joplin.